greatest and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart. Can you guess who I am? I am Helen Adams Keller. I was born on June 27, 1880 in Alabama. I am the first of two daughters born to Arthur H. Keller and Catherine Adams Keller. I also have two older stepbrothers. I was born with the ability to see and to hear, but at the age of about 19 months old, I caught a sickness which caused me to lose my sight and hearing. At the age of about 7, I became so overbearing for my parents that they had to call a doctor to see if he could do anything. He asked one of his former patients, named Annie Sullivan, to come and help me. At first she hesitated, but then she came to help. The first night she had come to help me, we were at the dinner table when she realized that I was going around to everybody's plates getting food off of theirs plates. She realized it was wrong and then sat me down at my seat and dished for me. She forced me to eat with my utensils. I was having a hard time because my parents always let me do whatever I needed to. Annie Sullivan realized that my family and friends were getting in the way of me learning, so she had them exit from the dining room into a different room. She locked all the doors and then had me sit down and firmly had me learn how to use my utensils. After about 2 hours of sitting in there, I had finally learned how to do that correctly and properly. She then realized that my family was still getting in the way of me learning, so she found a little house next to our mansion that she asked my parents if she could use for me to teach me. My parents allowed her to, and they took me on a long 2-hour drive before they left me there. They knew that if they did that, then I could not run back to them. Annie Sullivan then tried to teach me with signing things in my hands, and then signing words in my hands, and then making me touch or eat that item. At first I couldn't understand what she was trying to teach me, but eventually I got it. Annie Sullivan stayed with me for the rest of my life, and I went on to become a great adult who wrote books and did speeches. I died in my sleep on June 1st, 1968. In my life, I represented being a strong and courageous woman who never give up.
Don't think about the start of the race, think about the ending. Can you guess who I am? I am Usain Bolt. I was born in Jamaica on August 21st, 1986. Both a standout cricket player and a sprinter early on. My natural speed was noticed by coaches at school, and I began to focus solely on sprinting under the tutelage of Pablo McNeil, a former Olympic sprint athlete, and as early as age 14, I was inspiring fans of sprinting with my lightning speed, and I won my first high school championships medal in 2001, taking over the silver in the 200-meter race. At age 15, I took my first shot at success on the world stage at the 2002 World Junior Championships in Kingston, Jamaica, where I won the 200-meter dash, making me the youngest World Junior gold medalist ever. I felt impressed the athletics world, and I received an International Association of Athletics Foundation's Rising Star Award that year, and soon was given an APT nicknamed Lightning Bolt. I announced that I would run the 100-meter and 200-meter events at the Beijing Summer Olympics. In the 100-meter final, I broke the world record, winning in 9.69 seconds. I went to win 3 gold medals and break 3 world records in Beijing. At the 2002 Summer Olympic Games held in London, I won my 4th Olympic gold medal in the men's 100-meter race, beating rival young Blake. I am the first man to win the 100-meter and 200 consecutive Olympic Games, as well as the first man to ever win back-to-back gold medals in double sprints. My accomplishments have made me the first man in history to set 3 world records in a single Olympic Games competition. I want to leave you with this thought. This is why I came here to the Olympics, to prove the world that I am the best again. It always feels good to go out on top. You know what I mean?
Women must try to do things as men have tried. When they fail, their failure must be but a challenge to others. Can you guess who I am? I'm Amelia Mary Earhart. I was born on July 24th, 1897 in Kansas. Until I was 12, I lived with my wealthy maternal grandparents. I attended a private school. My summers were spent in Kansas City, Missouri, where my lawyer father worked for the Rock Island Railroad. In 1909, my younger sister Muriel and I went to live with our parents in Des Moines, Iowa, where the railroad had transferred my father. While in Des Moines, I saw my first airplane while visiting a state fair. Because it had been only a few years since the Wright brothers made their first flight at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, before I completed high school, I also attended schools in St. Paul, Minnesota, and Springfield, Illinois. Meanwhile, my father was fighting a losing battle against alcoholism. His failure and the humiliation it caused for me were the root of my lifelong dislikes of alcohol and desire for financial securities. My mother left my father in Springfield in 1914, taking me and my sister with her to live with her friends in Chicago, Illinois, where I graduated from the Hyde Park School in 1915. A year later, after my mother received an inheritance from the estate of my grandmother, I was sent to Ognitz School in Philadelphia, and an exclusive high school and junior college. During Christmas vacation, my second year there, I went to Toronto, Canada, where Muriel was attending a private school. In Toronto, I saw my first amputee. I immediately refused to return to Ognitz and became a volunteer nurse in a hospital for veterans, where I worked until after the armistice of 1918. In the winter of 1920, I saw my first air show and took my first airplane ride. As soon as we left the ground, I said I knew I had to fly. I received my license to fly a plane. I eventually bought my own plane. However, I was unable to earn enough to continue my expensive hobby. I later sold my plane and bought a car. I married George Putnam in 1931 on May 20th through 21st, 1932, and 5 years after Lindbergh, I became first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic. On July 2nd, 1937, 22 days before my 14th birthday, my 40th birthday, and having already completed 22,000 miles of an attempt to fly around the world, and I and my navigator, Fred Noonan, disappeared over the Pacific, somewhere between Lae, New Guinea, and Howland Island, an island of the Central Pacific Ocean. Springfield in 1914, taking me and my sister with her to live with her friends in Chicago, Illinois, where I graduated from the Hyde Park School in 1915. A year later, after my mother received an inheritance from the estate of my grandmother, I was sent to Ognitz School in Philadelphia, and an exclusive high school and junior college. During Christmas vacation, my second year there, I went to Toronto, Canada, where Muriel was attending a private school. In Toronto, I saw my first amputee. I immediately refused to return to Ognitz and became a volunteer nurse in a hospital for veterans, where I worked until after the armistice of 1918. In the winter of 1920, I saw my first air show and took my first airplane ride. As soon as we left the ground, I said I knew I had to fly. I received my license to fly a plane. I eventually bought my own. However, I was unable to earn enough to continue my expensive hobby. I later sold my plane and bought a car. I married George Putnam in 1931 on May 20th through 21st, 1932, and 5 years after Lindbergh, I became first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic. On July 2nd, 1937, 22 days before my 14th birthday and my 40th birthday and having already completed
The secret is to believe in your dreams and your potential that you can be like your star. Keep searching and keep believing and don't lose faith in yourself. Can you guess who I am? I'm Neymar da Silva Santos Jr. I was born February 5th, 1992 in Magui das Cruzes, Sao Paulo, Brazil. I was son of a former professional soccer player. I followed my father's footsteps by playing street games and futsal, the indoor version of the game. I joined Portuguese Status Youth Club in 1999. Within a few years, there was one of the most highly regarded young talents in the country. I joined the youth system of Santos FC at age 11. News of my abilities spread to Europe, and I was offered the chance to continue my development with Real Madrid CF at age 14. But the Santos team's management reportedly convinced me to stay put with a large bonus. I made my senior debut for Santos in 2009 and lived up to the hype by earning the league's best young player award. Then I emerged as a full-blown star in 2010, helping the Santos claim the league and Copa do Brasil championships and round the first of 3 straight scoring titles and 4 straight Player of the Year awards. That season, I also made my debut for the senior national team and debuted a Mohawk-style haircut which quickly became popular for younger fans. I was suspended during the 2015 Copa America, effectively squashing Brazil's chances of making an extended run. The following year, I sat out the tournament to stay rested and healthy for the 2016 Rio Olympics.
If I told you to bring a sacrifice and work hard for it, can you guess who I am? I'm Lionel Messi. I was born on June 24th, 1987 in Rosario, Argentina. I usually tag along with my 2 older brothers that play soccer with their friends. At age 8, I was recruited to join a Rosario-based club. I was smaller than most of the kids in my age group. Eventually, I was diagnosed by doctors with something that made it so I couldn't grow as much. Eventually, it became impossible to keep having to pay hundreds of dollars each month for my medical bills. At age 13, I was offered to train at a soccer powerhouse where they paid for my medical bills. My family had picked up and moved across the Atlantic to build a new home in Spain. I often got homesick there. At age 16, I made my first appearance with Barcelona. I signed the record books to be the youngest player to score a goal in the franchise. My first ever contract wasn't on a roll piece of paper. The director of FC Barcelona contract written on a paper napkin. I was surprised that he did it then and there. When I was 25, I was the first player to score 200 goals in La Liga. I became the first player in the Champions League to score 5 goals in a single match. I want to leave you with this thought. I made a lot of sacrifices having to leave Argentina and my family to start a new life, but everything I did for football to achieve my dreams. That's why I didn't go out partying or do a lot of things. Maybe now you will remember me, not as only a great soccer player, but as a great kid.
I just want people to know it took a lot. It took a lot of hard days in the gym and determination, passion, and drive. Gold medals are made out of your blood, sweat, and tears. And so that's what I want. Can you guess who I am? I'm Gabrielle Christina Victoria Douglas, better known as Gabby Douglas. I was born in on December 31st, 1995 in Virginia Beach, Virginia. My first experience with gymnastics came at age 3, when I perfected a straight cartwheel using the technique I learned from my older sister, Ariel. By age 4, I taught myself how to do a one-handed cartwheel. With the encouragement from my sister, my mother allowed me to begin taking formal gymnastic classes at the age of 6. Only 2 years later, in 2004, I was named a Virginia State champion. When I turned 14, I left my hometown family and moved to West Des Moines. I had to train and be renewed by Ling Chow, who trained American gymnastics Swan Johnson into world champion and Olympic gold medalist. I was a member of the USA team that won the gold medal in the team finals at 2011 World Artistic Gymnastics Championships in Tokyo, Japan. I also won the 2012 Olympic trials, which took place at San Jose, California, which was selected as a member of the national team that represented the United States and United States at the 2012 Summer Olympics in London. On August 9, 2016, I helped the U.S. women's gymnastics team grab the gold again with my performance on the uneven bars, which I scored 15 points, 766. I shared the team gold with Biles, Reisman, Hudson, and Cochin. The team, which we all called ourselves the Final Five. The 2016 Summer Olympics is the last Olympics where there's a 5-girl team. The next Olympics is only going to be a 4-person team. I realized the autobiography Grace, Gold, and Glory, my leap to faith in 2012. I also have a television movie about my life that aired in 2014. On July 11, 2016, the day after I was named to the Olympic team, I debuted my new body, Virginia State champion. When I turned 14, I left my hometown family and moved to West Des Moines. I had to train and be renewed by Ling Chow, who trained American gymnastics Swan Johnson into world champion and Olympic gold medalist. I was a member of the USA team that won the gold medal in the team finals at 2011 World Artistic Gymnastics Championships in Tokyo, Japan. I also won the 2012 Olympic trials, which took place at San Jose, California, which was selected as a member of the national team that represented the United States and United States at the 2012 Summer Olympics in London. August 9, 2016, I helped the U.S. women's gymnastics team grab the gold again with my performance on the uneven bars, which I scored 15 points, 766. I shared the team gold with Biles, Reisman, Hudson, and Cochin. The team, which we all called ourselves the Final Five. The 2016 Summer Olympics is the last Olympics where
there's a 5-girl team. The next Olympics is only going to be a 4-person team. I realized the autobiography Grace, Gold, and Glory, my leap to faith in 2012. I also have a television movie about my life that
The one thing coming into camp is to do individual plays not only with Peyton but Brock as well. Can you guess who I am? Emmanuel Sanders, born March 17th, 1987 in Belleville, Texas. I went to high school at Belleville, Texas. I went to high school at Belleville, Texas, so I was acclaimed a 4-sport athlete in basketball, football, baseball, and track. I played safety, running back, and wide receiver. I was the best in the district at those positions. I committed to Southern Minnesota in university in 2002. I was a 3-year starter. I was later awarded all-conference honors during my final 2 series with the Mustangs. I declared for the NFL draft. After my senior year, I was selected in the 3rd round of 2010 NFL draft as the 82nd pick by the Pittsburgh Steelers. I finished my rookie year with 28 receptions for 376 yards and 2 touchdowns. Despite losing to the Green Bay Packers in Super Bowl XLV, I contributed 2 catches for 17 yards to conclude my rookie season. I remained with the Steelers through the 2013 season. On March 15th, 2014, I signed with the Denver Broncos and my team debut, but I recorded 6 receptions for 77 yards against the Indianapolis Colts. I finished the 2014 season with 101 receptions for one touchdown, 404 yards, and 9 touchdowns. I was later added to the 2015 Pro Bowl roster and contributed 5 catches for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns in team's Irvin's win over the Team Cardinals. So I was acclaimed a 4-sport athlete in basketball, football, baseball, and track. I played safety, running back, and wide receiver. I was the best in the district at those positions. I committed to Southern Minnesota in university in 2002. I was a 3-year starter. I was later awarded all-conference honors during my final 2 series with the Mustangs. I declared for the NFL draft. After my senior year, I was selected in the 3rd round of 2010 NFL draft as the 82nd pick by the Pittsburgh Steelers. I finished my rookie year with 28 receptions for 376 yards and 2 touchdowns. Despite
There's a story